Come on in, everyone, to this edition of Mavs on Deck as we discuss tonight's matchup between the Medicine Mavericks and the visiting Okotoks Dawgs, who come into town for the second time this year. And it should be a good one here from Athletic Park on a cloudy, darkish, but also sunny, all in the same sentence type of night here, around 26 degrees. And it looks like things are going to hold up for a beautiful night of baseball. Truman Bartman, Wayne Slosher with you again for this pregame. And Wayne, as we take a look back at the Mavs throughout this week, it wasn't probably how they planned it going into Saskatoon, but they do finish on a strong foot with a win against Swift yesterday in Swift.
Yeah, they went into Saskatoon on a high. They had just won 3 games in a row, and they know that Saskatoon Berries are going to be very tough. They've got a veteran team. And they didn't play well in the first game, and it showed. Saskatoon beat them quite handily. But the second game was a game that could have gone either way, and it goes to extra innings, and the Mavs came up 1 run short. That's just the way baseball goes. They're going to play Saskatoon a lot this year. We haven't seen Saskatoon yet, but again, we know that they're going to be very good. They've got a 9-2 record. They're in first place, and deservedly so. But as you said, the Mavs were able to bounce back last night in Swift Current.
And as you said, Wayne, that's baseball. That's just how it goes for the Okotoks Dawgs this year. They're still above 500, 8-5, second in the West Division. But this is not the sort of team that we're used to seeing from the Okotoks Dawgs, where they're blowing everybody out and they are truly the best team in the league every single time they touch the field. It's been a bit of a different feel.
Yeah, they don't look, as you had mentioned, like the solid, strong, in-your-face Okotoks Dawgs team. Having said that, their conference with Lethbridge, Sylvan Lake, still very, very good. So I can see those 3 teams slugging it out in the West all year for representation of who's going to be the top seed. And I think ourselves, Regina and Saskatoon will be fighting it out in the East Division.
Not saying that it's just a 6-team league, but there are 6 teams who have kind of removed themselves from the pack as the contenders in the early going here. And speaking of contenders and contenders battling it out, these 2 teams, as we mentioned, have already played once this year, and each had a time in that first game where they looked like they were contenders. But the way that game ended, Wayne, why don't you give us a bit of a recap of how we got out of that one and how the Mavs started off the season?
Well, as I recall, we had a big lead, and then we gave up the big lead and fell behind, and we had to scramble to tie it up again. And I believe the game was tied at 12, and we had runners on second and third, and a wild pitch. I think we were down by 1 run, to tell you the truth. We were down by 1 run, and a wild pitch. The runner from third was easily going to score, but the catcher kind of gave up on the ball. I think he thought the runner at third was a winning run and didn't chase after the ball, and our runner on second base came around and scored the winning run. Just a real quirky finish to a game, a 2-run wild pitch. And we hadn't seen that before, and it was quite a way to start the season.
It sure was, and we got another one here tonight. I'm sure it won't end that way, but there will be some excitement within this one, as always, when the Dawgs come into Medicine Hat to face the Mavericks. We'll send you to a quick commercial break and a word from our official network, Flow Sports. Well, a bit of a dark sky has settled over Athletic Park tonight, and the often referred to villains of the WCBL make their return to Medicine tonight. For the Okotoks Dawgs, it's been an unusual start to 2025 in many ways. The first indicated by their record, standing just 8-5 and second in the West Division, the Dawgs have yet to reach their full potential this season. They have also become the second home for the Energy City Cactus Rats, who've been playing out of their park while they wait for their new one to be finished. In the face of adversity, the Dawgs look to return to their winning ways here on the road. The same cannot be said for the Medicine Mavericks, who have been cruising along at home with a perfect 7-0 record this season, which marks the second longest home win streak to begin a season in Mavericks history. The Dawgs and a potential Storm both roll into the Gas City for the final regular season matchup between these two right here on Flow Sports. My name is Truman Bartman, and alongside me, as always, is Wayne Slosher. And speak of that Storm, Wayne, it doesn't look like it's going to roll in fully tonight, but what we will now roll into your feeds here is our starting lineups. Wayne, take us through it.
Yeah, thank you, Truman. Tonight, leading off for the Okotoks Dawgs will be a third baseman, Eric Matches. In center field, Caden Williams. At second base, Zane Skansky. At first base, Nash Crowell. Catching, Jacob Rubleski. The DH is Barry Eisenman. In left field, Stephen Elsner. In right field, Benita Bonilla. And at shortstop, Aiden Munoz. For the hometown Mavs, in center field, leading off is Jeremy Freeman. At shortstop, Yuzi Uzawa. Carter Roth will be at third base. Aaron Volcano in right field. Evan Morrison at first base. Jordan Babiak is tonight's DH. Blake Dale at second base. Nate King will do the catching, and Micah Dvorak in usual left field, batting ninth. The umpires for tonight's game, Matt Ben will be the home plate umpire. The crew chief at first base is Ron Shuchuk, and at third base is Zeke Fair.
And taking a look at who the Mavs have starting on the mound tonight, and hasn't started warming up yet, but it's Xander Roberts, who had a fantastic outing during his last appearance here at Athletic Park. He's got one win on the season in 2 appearances. He's got a 3.37 ERA, which was brought way down after his last game. And he's got 10 strikeouts on the year, a large majority of those coming in his last appearance. So if he can replicate that against a team like the Okotoks Dawgs, it would be a statement game for him. And the Mavericks need a starting pitcher to stand out. They've struggled in that department, and they're waiting for someone to take the role of ace. You're going to need one of those if you want to make a long run. Roberts has his chance here tonight.
Yeah, if you look at these two teams in comparison to hitting, league-wise, they're 1 and 2 in hitting. The Mavs are slightly ahead of the Dawgs in batting average for the league. And if you look at ERA, they're 7th and 8th, I believe. And the Okotoks Dawgs are like .02 ahead of the Mavericks in team ERA. So these teams are very close, and they're both in second place, as you had mentioned.
And now we will send you to the playing of O Canada, or rather singing of O Canada, here from Athletic Park. And now let's get ready to rumble from Medicine Hat, Alberta, as the Dawgs get ready to lead off this one. And leading off the game for them at bat is Eric Matchey, a fantastic player within this Dawgs system. He's been a part of a couple of those championship teams throughout the last couple of years for the Dawgs. Division I baseball player. He's excellent. And as we mentioned before, it's Xander Roberts on the mound. He's made all three of his starts here at home in Medicine Hat, and will look to have another successful one here as we go. And big note for the Mavericks is Johnny Volcano and Tyler Vanesti, neither playing in this game, as they are both resting tonight, and sure we'll see them at some point here soon. But those are the Mavs' two veterans, and without that veteran presence out there and two players that often direct traffic, it'll be interesting to see how Medicine Hat fares, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
As I was mentioning to you earlier before we were on the air, I believe Eric Matchey has a younger brother playing with the Okotoks Dawgs in their academy team, one of their summer teams, the Okotoks Dawgs Red team. They have black, red, and white.
And many players from this Dawgs that are currently on this Dawgs team have come from Okotoks Academy. Got a strong base over there, and almost like having a farm system right in your backyard is been a luxury for them.
Yeah, they've got a great facility there. They've got an indoor facility that has the dimensions of a Major League infield or even a WCBL infield. It's the same size. So they're able to practice year-round. And, yeah, they have over a dozen players on their Dawgs team here tonight that are from Okotoks.
So Eric Matchey, first time at Athletic Park this season. He has played here in his career, but he was not here to start the year, still playing in college when the year began. So we'll see how he adjusts to the new space this season. Roberts swing and a miss there as he starts off his day with 2 strikes. That's the biggest thing for Mavericks pitchers, staying ahead in the count and working counts quickly in your favor. This one grounded along, and it's going to be wrapped up at third, over to Morrison at first, and that is the first out of today's game. So Matchey down via the ground ball, and it'll bring up center fielder Caden Williams. A new face in center field. It was Aiden Krause who played there last time he was here, and ran into Krause's parents actually today as they were visiting by the park. They wanted to see Aiden before the game started. There's a swing and a miss on the offering from Xander, but we see that often. Lots of parents traveling along with the teams and meeting up with those who they know or those who may be related to. This one's going to be outside from Roberts.
We even had visitors up here tonight from out of town.
Yep, the Volcanos were here as they watched just Aaron tonight. That one going to be grounded foul. But as Wayne had mentioned to them, that's the good thing about having 3 siblings on the team. You're going to have one in the lineup per night. Here's a bouncer in the dirt. It hits King up in the chest protector, who haven't seen King a lot at home here, but he gets in with Roberts behind the plate. Babiuk also in the game, not catching tonight. He's just in the DH role. Here comes the throw from Roberts. One's going to be low again, and it's a full count. Here comes the dealing from Roberts. It's going to be fouled backwards. Not
There
sure.
was a lot of threat of rain just before game time, or I should say around 4 o'clock.
This one's going to be through the gap, and the Dawgs have their first hit of the night. It is Caden Williams who gets on with a single. So with Williams on, That will bring up Zane Skansky to the plate, and he's been quite the treat for the Dawgs this season, batting in the 400s. Outside of Brandon Paez, he's been their second best batter. And to know that you could have Grant coming back, you got Croson and Crowell and Rose, all these big names that have been there in the past, and you add a young gun like him to the list. I mean, he might keep his name at the top of the lineup for most of this year. It just means there's going to be more depth at that bottom half. That pitch is going to miss there from Roberts. One theme we've been seeing with Roberts on the mound is that when he pitches, his teammate Garrick Levesque usually relieves for him. Here's the throw. This one is belted foul. It's a high throw there from Roberts that got roped aside.
Oh, runner was going to go. If he would have went, he would have had second base stolen. He had such a good jump, and then he stopped and came back to first.
And King, dipping down to the ground there. Would not have been able to get that one off in time. Throw back to first here. Roberts will check on him now. Morrison with the tag, but safely back was Williams. A low one again from Roberts, not getting the chase. In his last appearance, that was a pitch that he was getting the chase on, at least in the first couple innings.
And he was keeping it up just at knee level or slightly below knee level. Now he's missing down a little bit too low. Better there than up, though. Ooh.
And it's going to be a walk to Skansky.
That looked close.
So Skansky over at first, Crowell to the plate. And it hasn't been an ideal season for Nash Crowell. Usually a power nightmare for the Dawgs, but he's only batting in the low 200s this year, which is not something we've seen a lot from him during his WCBL tenure.
Well, and only one home run, and unfortunately we don't want him to change anything tonight.
Swing and a miss on the first pitch here from Roberts.
We've seen him in batting practice put it into the river beyond left field.
Yeah, he's not a small dude.
No.
Crowell and a swing and a foul off.
There's right off the end of the bat. Way out in front.
Crowell will scoot aside there, and it's 1-2. See how Roberts deals with the pressure of two runners behind him. Williams is jumping all over. Crowell didn't go on that one. They'll check over at first, but it was pretty obvious he didn't. Roberts swing and a miss there from Crowell as he tried to reach out ahead and couldn't nip it. Crowell with a couple of words for the batter behind him and Jacob Wróblewski. Wróblewski in at the catcher position tonight. We talked about the wild pitch and then the catcher losing it. It was not Wróblewski that happened to. I believe it was Jason Arriola. But he paid witness to it at the start of the year. Ooh, they almost caught Williams, who was far away from the bag, but there was nobody there to get ahead of him, and Roberts didn't release the throw. Here's the throw. That one low. Might be the first time that Roberts has been behind an account off his first throw. He's been good at starting each batter off with one strike. Wróblewski, a swing and a miss this time.
He's got that enticing slurve pitch. Looks like a strike and then just breaks off and down.
Swing and a miss again. That same sort of pitch from Roberts. He gets Wrobleski on it twice. See if there's an opportunity to try it for a third time here in the top of the first. Here's the throw, and he didn't go. Good block by King. So the count is over to 2-2.
Well, this should be the pitch of decision. You don't want to go to 3-2 and have the runners on the move.
And Roberts not happy with himself on that one as he points to his jersey. King will direct traffic knowing those runners are going. And that one's going to hit King.
That was a foul ball.
I was going to ask you, Wayne, if he went there, and he did go, but I didn't see the foul after, but it was probably because it hit King right in the gut. He's still bent over there, trying to catch his breath. Here's the 3-2 pitch. This one's going to be hit up. Morrison over towards first, and he makes the play right at the dugout. So that will conclude our top of the first, and a nice play by Morrison with the sun in his eyes and maybe some hair as well as he comes down with that ball. The Mavs will get a chance to bat after a word from our sponsor, Igniter Tickets. And welcome to the bottom of the first inning as we take a look at who is on the mound tonight for the Dawgs. And it's a familiar face, Seth Gurr. He's been lights out this season. 1 win already on the year, same as Xander Roberts, who you saw earlier with a 1.80 ERA, very impressive, and 9 strikeouts. So the Mavs are going to have their hands full. This is an elite arm who will be in the running for an all-star spot this season. And for a Mavs team that is hit most pitchers very well, there's levels, and he might be a level up from what they've seen.
Well, the thing that I like about him is not only the 9 strikeouts, but only 1 walk. And if you can have that ratio of 9-1, you're going to do very well no matter what league you're in.
And here's one guy that you don't want to walk. That's Jeremy Freeman Jr. Great contact hitter, has a good average, and he is unbelievable when it comes to stealing bases. Don't let him on first. First throw from Gurr is going to be a strike. Wrobleski couldn't hold on to it. And the guy behind him as well, currently tied for first in the league with stolen bases with Freeman and Yusei Uzawa. So you don't want to give free passes to either of them.
Well, and this pitcher doesn't. Only 1 walk. Both curveballs or sliders to start off against Freeman.
Freeman's down early. Freeman, a late swing there, but he fouls it aside.
I like what's happened here with the pitcher. 2 curveballs. You get the batter thinking that he has to sit back and wait for a curveball, and then you come in with that high, hard fastball, and all you can do is foul it off.
Freeman, this one towards first, a diving play, throw over to Gurr, and he gets his foot on the bag. Good reach from Nash Kroll to make the play, and he gets up a little agitated.
That was a good play by the first baseman.
So Yusei Uzawa will head to the plate with 1 out. Uzawa fouls the first offering from Gurr aside. It hits the top of the roof over here and comes down right to the concourse. Made a loud bang noise.
Machi was playing in at third base for both Freeman and Usawa until Usawa had a strike on him. Now he's moved back.
Uzawa, another foul backwards, once again into the ceiling. There was some excitement. I'm not sure. Maybe did somebody catch it over there? Lots of cheers after that foul ball
Yeah, it
reached
looked like
into the
caught it.
stands. Here's the throw from Gurr. That one will miss, so the first ball of this count. Uzawa, a swing and a miss. So now something to cheer about for Gurr as he sits down the first 2 Mavericks.
It looked like a changeup. So he's got a curveball, slider, good fastball. If that's a changeup, yeah, he's going to be real tough.
But he's got a tough battle now with Carter Roth, the league leader in average once again. Feels like we're saying it every broadcast, and that's because his average keeps climbing. One right at his head as he ducks aside, and Roth has mostly played in the cleanup spot this year. He's in the 3 spot tonight. We'll see how he adjusts. Shouldn't be much of a problem when you're as elite of a hitter as he is. Foul back there. It counts to 1-1.
I think he hit his first home run last night, if I'm not mistaken.
He did in a 17-8 win over the Swift Current 57s. The game looked out of reach at one point, and then the 57s crawled their way back, but Medicine Hat took over in the late innings. This one over to third. Tough throw to first. It was never going to be there, and Roth is on with the first hit of the game for the Mavs.
Good play by Machi at third base, but Roth runs too well.
So now with 1 on, up to bat is Aaron Volcano, who's moved his way up in the order as well. This is a big night for a player like Volcano. He's going to pop this one up into the air. And aside from having his parents in the stands, it's a night for him to prove himself without Vanesti and his brother in the lineup. Another foul in a similar spot for Volcano. He's behind 0-2.
Boy, that Burr has got his location of that curveball just on the corner, and our batters are just ahead of it and fouling it off. Let's see if he comes with another heater. There it is.
And he gets it. What a first inning for Seth Gurr. 2 strikeouts as he enters into Medicine Hat looking stylish. we're back in the top of the second inning here. 0-0 through one. One hit apiece. And it'll be the DH Barry Eisman at the plate. Eisman ducks aside there. First pitch is a ball from Roberts, who...
Eisman's batting .400 on the season.
Roberts goes with the fastball there. Evens it at 1. Roberts works quickly on the mound. He's right back to it. No chase there from Eisman. And that will be the hindrance tonight for Roberts if there's going to be one. If they aren't chasing his off speed, puts him in some trouble, and the Mavericks defense might be in some trouble here. Good chase down in left field and a long throw that limits this to a single. Good play by Micah Dvorak. That could have been a lot worse for the Mavs. So 1 on here for the Dawgs. Second hit of the night, and it'll bring up Steven Elsner. Elsner in left field himself tonight. Swing and a miss, and a hard swing there from Elsner on the first dealing from Roberts. Two strikes here for Roberts as that time Elsner takes.
Well, let's see what his strategy is going to be. Xander's with 0-2. Is he going to come in with a fastball or still entice him with that slow curveball low and away?
Elsner's just played in one game this year, rocking the pink batting gloves. That one bouncing off the chest of King and in front.
And that was another curveball.
Roberts with 2 throwaway pitches. The count is 2-all.
Yeah, let's get a ground ball here.
Here's the throw. And right on cue, Uzawa. That's 1, and running down to first is Elsner, so it won't be 2, but Wayne with the correct call once again. And if you pull out your, was Wayne correct in predicting something again tonight booklet, you can check tonight off.
Well, it's good to see we get a ground ball. It just wasn't hit hard enough, and it wasn't hit close enough to Uzi at short.
Thanks, Emma. If you heard me thanking someone down below, that was my sister. Runner's going to go here. Grounder over to third. And the Mavs are going to pick up 1 out on the delivery over to first. Sorry for going radio silent on everybody there. My sister was bringing me and Wayne ice cream, and looks like I got some food here as well. So we'll be multitasking through the rest of this second inning.
Wow. Ice cream. Wonderful.
Wayne, it's your favorite treat?
It is, yeah. And I don't eat it in the wintertime, but in the summertime, I like ice cream.
Umpire will throw that one back to Roberts. Runner on second here. Mavs trying to avoid giving up a run to the Dawgs with a runner in scoring position for the second inning in a row. Roberts collects into his glove. And a twisted swing there. Had Bonilla in several different places, or rather that was Munoz.
Munoz can run, so our infield is going to have to get rid of the ball in a hurry.
Yeah, he's a real good shortstop, but Wayne, like you said, he's quick. Grounded to first, hot hop. Blake Dale knocks it down, and that will be the third out. So 2 scoreless innings on the mound for Xander Roberts. A little bit of trouble, but nothing that he couldn't steer away from. And we'll steer out of this inning, and we'll be back in the next inning to tell you a little bit more about these two teams and see the Mavs bat once more. Interrupting our fine dinner up here is baseball, which I'm sure everybody's more excited to see and hear about as opposed to what me and Wayne are consuming up here in the broadcast booth in the bottom of the second inning. Evan Morrison up to the plate. And for Morrison recently, it's been a struggle. Some real hard nights. He just hasn't found his swing. Was making some great contact to start the year, but it's got away from him.
Yeah, he has to get back into that groove and try to go the opposite way.
Morrison gets a strike. Somebody in the crowd didn't like that. There was a singular boo that rained down. Boo. A low pitch to Morrison that time. Three and one the count. Here comes the throw from Gurr, and it is a strike. Morrison thought he was getting a walk. That one catches the side. So full count to Evan Morrison. See if he can be patient here. We know Gurr is going to be in attack mode. Here comes the throw. This one going to be grounded over towards second. Play over to first. Morrison runs well, but that is out number one in this bottom of 2. He's never an easy guy to get out when there's something on the ground. Jaden Babiuk will head up to the plate. And he's much happier today. We talked about his mood last time with the Oilers losing. In many ways, he does let it dictate his happiness. And they won last night, so he's happy, and the rest of us are not.
I was happy. That was quite a game, hockey game.
I hope we can inspire some people to watch hockey through this broadcast. I know you're here for baseball, but there is another sport out there that is great. I just have one request from you. Avoid watching the Toronto Maple Leafs, and you will enjoy hockey a lot. Here's the throw to Babiuk as he sends this one high and foul.
And that's coming from a diehard Maple Leaf fan.
Oh, yeah. Don't go near it. stay away from it like the plague. And Babiuk, he's trying to stay away from striking out here. Gurr has been all around the plate today. Could be another dominant pitching performance as Wrobleski couldn't hang on to it. Seen that a couple times from him. We've had some gems here recently. On the Mavs end, Roberts and Retzlaff have both looked really good in starting roles. And how about the start from Dylan Parton a couple nights ago? He was excellent when Weyburn was here. This one along the ground. It's going to run right up through the middle, and it gets in. Babiuk even thought about two with a stutter step there at the end, but he'll take a base hit. And Jayden Babiuk's season has been remarkable so far. Last year he was batting in the hundreds at some points, and this year he's been up near the 300, 400 range. Contact is his game, and he's been playing it well.
Yeah, he didn't. That barely made it out onto the grass, but it's not how hard, it's where he hit it. And he's on first.
Babiuk's got good wheels. Not sure if he'll be stealing, but he sure can. Here's Blake Dale. He'll send this one over the seats. Dale playing second base tonight with Roth over at third. Seen him a lot in at shortstop over the years. Throw over to first. They'll check on Babiuk. He was in a dash to get back there, and they almost got him in time. Here's Gurr. Another throw back to first, and that time they get him. Cheating too far was Babiuk, and he gets hit with the tag.
I thought he got back in time, but Ron Shuchuk called him out.
It was closer than it needed to be. So the Mavs now have 2 out with nobody on. Blake Dale is a strike away from going down in this bottom of the second. Gurr is in full command. Here's the throw, and he'll be down for a ball. Gurr right back to it, and he gets Dale swinging. So Blake Dale is down on strikes. And we cruise through 2 innings, continuing that fast pace that we've seen as of late. Dawgs coming up next. First pitch here from Roberts in the third is in the dirt. So Babiuk called out at first. We have not seen a lot of that this year. and at all over the course of the last 3 years here. Mavs are pretty good at getting back to the bag. All teams are pretty good at getting back to the bag, and unless you play with too much fire like we saw from Babiuk there, it usually goes your way.
Well, Burr made a good pick off his first attempt and didn't quite get Babiuk, and then the second one was just as good.
Another pitch misses for Roberts. 3 consecutive balls. But he has looked solid even with runners on behind him. That's been the biggest positive for Roberts, is that he's dealt with the pressure well.
Well, he's going to have to start pitching ahead to be successful. And we're at the top of the order again.
Matchy is at the plate. Matchy's going to foul that one off, and he works his way back. The one thing to keep an eye on, and I guess remember as this game goes on, is that Roberts pitched a lot in the first, so his pitch count is higher than you'd like it to be. This one is into his glove, over to first. That's out 1. So for his sake, and I guess for the Mavs' sake too, they've used a lot of pitchers in the last couple of days. You would like for him to have a few innings with a few quick outings.
Yeah.
Caden Williams comes to the plate. He was hopping around at second last time, causing some commotion. And this one's going to be ripped into center field. Freeman is to it, and it's a base hit for Williams, so his second time reaching tonight.
He was waiting for that curveball, and that curveball was just up a little bit, and he was expecting it from Roberts. He got it, and he banged it out.
Yeah, it's remarkable to see, second time through the order, how much hitters improve when they haven't seen a pitcher before. It's a guessing game, but looks like Williams read things right after his first duel with Roberts, and Roberts' throw here to Scansey, who sees him for a second time, falls for a strike. Bouncer in the dirt again. That's been his miss tonight. That right side down in the dirt. King has done a great job of staying all over it.
Yeah, I'd like to see him throw more fastballs, because I think Okotoks are going to just start waiting, and they're not going to chase that pitch. There goes Williams.
In and out of the glove of King, and he's safe. Good slide in there by Williams, and the throw was just a little bit off to that left side, and it created enough space for Williams to zoom in. And you folks would have got to see that better than us. We had the camera on the second view, so if he was out, you would have seen it before us, and if he was safe, which I believe from all of what we saw he was.
Yeah, he was definitely
You would have
safe.
saw that before.
Yeah, we're going to 3-1 again, and it's just curveball after curveball after curveball, and as I said, Okotoks aren't going to chase it, rather.
There's a strike from Roberts. Nash Kroll waiting on deck. But first, Roberts has to deal with Scansey. Here comes the pitch, and it almost hit Scansey, so there's 2 on again. King will toss that one back to Roberts. And Kroll will head to the plate. And an interesting thing that I just noticed about away teams is, at least in previous games, when they were walking up to the plate, some of the music that they were playing for the opposing team was probably just as good as half of their walk-up songs at home. They need to have something more like the Coldplay song we just heard.
Well, it'd be nice to get a ground ball now, because we know that Kroll is not a fast runner, but he is going to mash it.
Just like that, he hammers one into left field. Dvorak is going to pause things with his throw into the shortstop in Roth, or rather Roth playing third tonight. covering for him over there was Uzawa. And now there'll be a chat here with Roberts. JT's coming out to the mound.
I think they got to change their sequence of pitching. Okotoks know, I think they know exactly what's coming and where.
Home plate umpire will come out and break things up. With the bases loaded and just one out, of course the Mavs would like a double play, but you deal with first things first, and their biggest issue now is getting out number 2.
Yeah, you want to keep the ball on the infield somewhere, whether it's a ground ball, a pop-up. Wróblewski popped up to first base. Morrison last at bat. The corners are playing in. The middle infield's playing double play depth.
First pitch is low. And this is where a team like Okotoks can just kill you. When they have runners on, they find a way to get them through, and they don't stop. They load the bases once, you're almost sure they'll load it again in the same inning. Here's one along the ground, could be 2. Flip over to second, throw over to first, and he's out of there! Double play for the Mavs! Oh my goodness. If you were holding your breath, I don't blame you. Heck of a play by Uzawa to get that out quickly. Beautiful throw at second from Dale. And on the other end to receive it, Evan Morrison. That completes the double play and puts up another 0 on the board. We'll be back hopefully with more high-flying action just like that. Well, the Mavericks can exhale as they begin this bottom of the third. Some tense moments there on the double play. It was bang, bang, but the call goes their way. 4 hits on the board already for Okotoks.
Well, it certainly went our way, that call at first base.
First throw is fouled backwards. Nate King up batting. Mavericks still haven't made it through their order. They will in this inning with King going, Dvorak on deck, Freeman in the hole. And Gurr still slicing on the mound. This one over to short. Long play to first. It is completed. Oh, beauty.
Wow.
Munoz with his speed. And then a sailor right into the bottom of Kroll's glove.
I just happened to be watching the Toronto Blue Jays were playing Philadelphia Phillies tonight, and Trey Turner made the exact same play. Got it on a slide, came up, planted the back foot, and made the throw to first. It's just replay. What a great play.
And even beyond that play, what a great player comp from Munoz. Fast guy,
Yeah.
hits for average, great defensively, and they're both shortstops.
Yeah, that was one of the best plays we've seen here this year at Athletic Park from a shortstop.
This one fouled aside by Dvorak. Yeah, the way that ball sailed in the air was Arenado, Chapman. You think of those two, even though they were third basemen, it always seemed to be in the right location. And it didn't at times get there quickly, but it always landed on point.
Well, you just get it in the air, and a ball in the air, no base runner can ever outrun a ball that's thrown in the air. And Munoz got it away quickly. It wasn't exceptionally hard, but it was right on target, as you had mentioned.
Ball to Dvorak there. As we look back in at his at-bat now. Count is 2-all. And a quick foul there from Dvorak.
Boy, Burr's got that great fastball.
Throw from Gurr, and he almost handcuffed Dvorak there. This will be his toughest assignment so far. You know, Roth has the numbers, but winning a battle against Micah Dvorak is a whole other animal.
That was a good curveball right in on the hands, but Dvorak was able to battle it off.
Comes the throw. Dvorak is going to send this one up into center field, and the play is going to be made. A little bit of a hop there from Caden Williams, but his speed working to his advantage once again. Good battle again there from Dvorak, despite not getting the result he desired. And up is the Ottawa University product, Jeremy Freeman Jr. First throw to Freeman. He's going to send this one high up in the air. Fouled. Step back in.
Gurr is now 30 strikes and only 9 balls in this game.
That won't only serve him well here, but that will serve him well against any team. I mean, this guy is going to be in the pitcher of the year conversation if this is the regular. His ERA tells that it is not a fluke. Ooh, high one there, got away from him. And in a group that already has guys like Ryan McFarland, Seth Thompson, Brody Forno, some great arms over the WCBL, who have all played the last couple of years. I mean, this Dawgs group on the mound is dangerous. And they lost 2 of their best pitchers coming into this year. Graham Brunner was fantastic throughout his time in the WCBL. Swing and a miss, and down goes Freeman. Another strikeout for Gurr. He's on cruise control, and we're only through 3. What a great performance from him. And speak of great performances, let's talk about how well these two have done this year. 10-4 is the record for the Mavs, as we mentioned prior. 8-5 for the Dawgs. They're up there, but not the total that they are looking for so far. Although, as we know with the Dawgs, they make their hay come playoff time. Mavs took the first meeting of the season, so they're 1-0, opposed to the Dawgs 0-1 on the season series. And Wayne talked about it off the top. These are 1-2 in runs scored this year. Mavs 140. Just berserk numbers. And for the Dawgs, 113. Also really, really good. Just not quite what the Mavericks have done this year. And it's odd that in a game that features 2 of the heaviest run-scoring teams, we're in a 0-0 tie. We'll be back. See if we can get some runs soon. Players and umpires both patiently waiting, and now the umpire is a bit frustrated there, and can't say that I blame them. Bit excessive on the time there. Umpire still staring down there as the mascot tries to wobble off the field. Wobble is about the most accurate description for the movement that was going on down there. It was turtle speed. Can't say the same for this game, though. And Wayne, we've talked about how quick the last few games have gone, and you felt like we were due for a snail fest. This one has not been that.
No, it's moving along. Uzawa's underneath that one.
And there's out number one. So you say down with that first ball. Roberts needed a quick out like that. Now it's the left fielder, Steven Elsner. And for Elsner, he reached his first time up on a fielder's choice, I believe. One low in the dirt.
Hit a ground ball to Uzawa at short.
Heavy swing there from Elsner. Elsner, the only player on the Okotoks roster who has not been listed with a college, a class, or a hometown. We'll have those details for you eventually over the course of this broadcast, but point streak not updated with them yet. And of course, if you ever want to find any of the updated stats, point streak is where you go, and post-game visit the official WCBL website. They'll have all those same stats up there. And I have to give my props to whoever is running the WCBL website this year. It has been instant. I'm not sure if the two are linked, but if someone's going in and putting up the numbers a second after, it's been an impressive run for them. They haven't gotten a lot wrong this year. They've been on top of it. Hitting this one high is Elsner as it drifts foul.
Elsner just waiting for that curveball from Roberts, I think. That was a good fastball, and he fouled it off. The previous pitches weren't competitive.
See if he sticks with the fastball here. Couldn't hit the edge. You're going back to the fastball again here if you have an opportunity?
Well, he's really been relying on his curveball. I think he's going to stick with that. There it was.
It's fouled backwards. So Elsner stays alive in the count.
Yeah, he was waiting for that curveball. Now I'd go hard on him. Either hard or a straight changeup. He went hard.
And a swing and a miss. Roberts with the K, and it sits Elsner down. So now Benino Bonilla, the right fielder, will make his way into the batter's box.
That's a good location on that fastball. Outside part of the plate.
And as far as we know for Bonilla, no relation to infamous New York Mets player Bobby Bonilla, who's still getting paid to this day. Although
July 1st. July 1st. He
It's
gets
coming,
another
it's coming
million
soon.
and a half.
We'll give my props to Bonilla. He was a very good Pittsburgh Pirate prior to his tenure with the Mets.
How about his dad, Barry? Or is that Barry Bonds?
There's Bobby and Barry Bonds, and they were both Pirates, so you're in the right ballpark. Swing and a miss there on a good pitch from Roberts. Count is even at 2 outs in the fourth. Roberts looking to finish off the fourth in speedy fashion, and he won't be able to do it here as it's pushed along into left field. Not the hardest hit ball, but it gets the job done for Bonilla.
Yeah, he was just waiting for that hanging curveball, and he got it.
And it'll send up Aiden Munoz, the shortstop. Now, if there's a soft hit one in the infield here for Munoz, he still might be able to get to first before the throw.
He grounded out to second last time, but boy, he motors down the line in a hurry.
Rocking the white sleeves. Roberts with a first pitch strike. Here comes the second, and it's high for a ball.
I think Roberts is at about 75 pitches right now.
So translating that into innings, how many more do you think he has to go? This one's put in the air. Dvorak gets on his horse. Long way down there, and he's going to make the play. So that'll do it for the top of the fourth, and it'll allow for Roberts to work for at least one more inning in this game. And the Dawgs offense shut down once again. And we enter the second half of the fourth inning. Yusei Uzawa leading off. Seth Gurr, the University of Montevello product. Teammates with Connor Croson, not playing in tonight's game. Not just here, but at Montevello as well. And Barry Eisman, another member of that Montevello squad. And all three guys are seniors. So not only are you getting players from the same spot who are familiar with each other, but you're getting guys who are veterans, who are experienced, and have been with both clubs for a while.
Well, I've been impressed with Seth Gurr. Both pitchers have pitched well. The Mavericks were lucky to escape a couple of opportunities that the Dawgs had.
Here's Uzawa. This one will head out to left field, and it's going to be wrapped up by Elsner. So that's out number one. Just no offense for a team that purely runs off of their offense at times. And if there is a guy to get it started, it's Carter Roth. He's not going to do it via the long ball, although we saw that a night ago. But planting something where somebody isn't. It's remarkable for a player like Roth. He does hit the ball hard, but it's the location that he continually replicates, and he's going to do it again here.
There it is. Base
hit over into right field. It's scrappy ball in some ways, and usually scrappy and effective work hand in hand.
That ball must look like a beach ball coming into him, because he doesn't miss when he swings too often. He doesn't always get a hit, but half the time he does. He's batting 500 plus.
Which is absurd. Half the time you're able to hit the ball.
Hit it safely, not just hit it.
This one is blasted from Volcano. It's got a chance to get all the way, and it does. This one is 2-0 off the bat of Aaron Volcano. With two of his family members out of the game tonight, Volcano puts one out and puts two up on the board.
Well, his parents who are here watching have got to be happy with that. I believe that's his, fourth home run this season?
He's rolling. He's near the top of the league now. That ties him for the team lead with Tyler Vanesti, I believe. Talked about it in the first inning. If there's a game where you need a guy like Volcano to show out, it's one where you're missing two of the Mavs' biggest threats, and he does it here.
Wow.
Here's another long ball from Morrison, and this one is going to go foul. He almost had a home run into left field following in the footsteps of Volcano.
Well, that brought the fans to their feet.
The first runs of this game is, this one's popped up by Morrison. Working in to grab it is Williams. It would have been a long run back for the speedy Munoz. And I'm sure he's happy that that play was not needed to be made by him. Jaden Babiak up. Had a hit earlier on for the Mavericks in his first plate appearance. It was one that hopped right down the neighborhood of second base and squeezed through into the green grass of the outfield. Swing and a miss on the first pitch here from Gurr.
You know, I think it was early on in the year we were watching Aaron Volcano. We really didn't know what he was all about. And we mentioned at that time, we kind of liked him. We could see that he has a very calmness at the plate, doesn't get rattled by anything. And boy, has he been a great addition to the Mavs.
Yeah, when the moment is big, he's always bigger. And that's not a trait that everybody possesses. Now, one group of individuals that did know what they had in Aaron Volcano prior to this year was Doane University, and we'll have more on them later in our universities and communities segment. Sorry to spoil it for those who are willing to wait. Speaking of waiting, as Babiak will ground this one down to first, Kroll will make the play, and that is the third out. But the Dawgs have someone waiting over in the pen. We'll see if that is it for Gert today or if he'll have another go-around with it. And speaking of around, Aaron Volcano pushes himself and Carter Roth around the base path with a 2-run homer, giving the Mavs a 2-0 lead as we enter the fifth. First throw as we return in this top of the fifth inning with Eric Machi at the plate. And it is 2-0 off the hop. So for Roberts, his pitch count's fairly high. Nobody warming up yet for the Mavs, although there's some discussion down there. And I do see a bullpen catcher heading out as this one heads out into center field. It's a base hit for Machi. You're just waiting to get one off the bat here. And when you talked about off-air, the approach that Roberts has to have this inning,
Well,
there is a pitch that they're getting to, the Dogs are, and you
yeah.
thought maybe sticking to one pitch is better?
Well, I think right now they're waiting for his curveball because he throws it a lot. And I would start changing the pattern of his pitches. Start leading off with a fastball. And when you're behind, throw your fastball more. I just think you've got to change your rotation because the Dogs are good hitters.
Count is 1-0 here to Williams, who was on last time. Here's a bouncer, and that will allow Matchy to get to second, right off of the shoulder of King.
Yeah,
first time King has
could
had
do
one
there.
get away from him.
Yeah, nothing King could do there. So Roberts up around 85 plus pitches.
Here's Williams. Fouls this one off all the way down towards the Mavs bullpen. And there is action in there now. And it is Garrick Levesque. As mentioned off the top of the show, Roberts to Levesque. That is the Mavericks system.
Well, Caden Williams is 2 for 2 tonight. He's behind in the count. I like that. Throw that fastball.
Waiting on deck is Zane Scansey, who's walked twice tonight. So they've avoided his pressure, but he's still gotten on. This one over to center field. Maybe a chance for it to go. Freeman is all the way back, and he makes the play.
He's out at second
Oh,
base.
my goodness. Matchy didn't know what was going on, and I don't even blame him. What a play from Freeman.
Double play. Matchy took off too soon, and Freeman went up, made the catch again.
And he can't believe it. He's standing over at third base in shock. He still hasn't moved, and now he'll go off towards the Dogs' dugout. Freeman's had 2 of those this year. Apple picking down in center field. He's grabbed 2 right out of the tree.
That'll be an 8-6-4 put out. Boy, as nice as the play was at Munoz at short, Freeman, that just saved us at least a run.
And I'm not sure if the WCBL still awards gold gloves as they used to. Jeremy Freeman's one you got to pay attention to for a gold glove award. And if there were a defensive player of the year or an award like that, a platinum glove, Freeman is near the top of that conversation, at least in the first month or so of this season.
Well, the Mavs are just avoiding play after play or opportunity after opportunity by the Dogs.
And they might have given them one here with Nash Kroll coming up, and one on for the Dogs as that one was booted away by Carter Roth. And for Roth, a tough assignment tonight. He hasn't played really any third here with the Mavericks.
That was going to be a tough play, even if he made that, because he was going straight towards second base.
Kroll doesn't go, and they say that he did go down at first. That time, it's going to miss for Roberts. Boy, would this be big for Roberts to get out of the 5th.
Yeah.
It'll help his team a lot.
It's a big-time power hitter here with Kroll.
Kroll's going to rope that one over the head of Carter Roth. Here's Dvorak. He's going to fling one all the way down. It's going to bounce past Roth. Luckily, King is there. And Kroll celebrates on second base with a double. And now there'll be a meeting with Roberts here, and I think his day is probably going to be done. Maybe JT just checking in to see if he thinks he can take on one last batter here. Let him finish the job against Jacob Robleski. And there is a long discussion here, so this isn't set in stone.
Yeah, Robleski is 0 for 2. But again, the Dawgs have 7 hits to the Mavs 4.
And JT's putting his trust in Roberts here. He's proved a lot in this game. He's proved that he can be not only one of the more consistent pitchers in the WCBL, but be the guy in the Mavs lineup, or at least for the moment being.
Yeah, he's pitched well. We've been able to get a fortunate double play call, and then that error kind of now puts him behind here.
Wrobleski, a swing and a miss on the first pitch. But it's these moments that, whether fair or not, define a player. And if Roberts can squeeze together and get Wrobleski out, it would be huge. 2 looming. Runner on third, runner on second. That one's going to miss. It's into the glove of King. The count is 1-all. Wrobleski from Gonzaga University, one of the NCAA powerhouses in men's basketball. This one's going to be grounded over towards second, and the Mavs are going to get the out. So Roberts' day ends on a high. 5 innings and no runs on the board. That is all you can ask and more from your starter. 7 hits given up, but he's got his team in the lead, and he's got his team in a position to take it home going forward. And Okotoks is going to remain with Seth Gurr here in the bottom of the 5th inning. He'll see Blake Dale first. And Gurr, outside of the one mishap, has been great today. This one, a long rider, and it's going to drop. Misplaying it in right field was Benito Bonilla.
He looked like he was casually going to catch it, and I think he took his eye off the ball because it's not the sun. He just lollyjagged over there and then just didn't catch the ball.
So Blake Dale, with the good speed that he has, is over at second, and it's about as error as it gets on a play like that.
I would have said it's an error, but they've given him a hit on it. He just didn't catch the ball.
Here's King. Chance to drive in Dale with no outs. Great spot here for the Mavs in the bottom of the 5th with a chance to get more runs. And a perfect bunt down the first base line. Kroll will get to it. He'll tag King, but the runner in Dale advances over to third. And you can see Chad Martin happy about the bunt attempt there from King.
That's what you got to do. You got to get him over to third base. Now the infield has to come in, and they are playing probably they're not in on the grass, but now they are going to come in.
And this is heaven for JT and company here. You get Dvorak, Freeman, and maybe Uzawa with a chance to drive in a guy on third. I mean, those are the three hitters that you trust the most in this scenario. I guess outside of Carter Roth and Vanesti, of course, who isn't in the lineup.
Well, and Dvorak's one of the top RBI guys in the league and on the Mavericks.
Yeah, tied with Tyler Vanesti for second. The only guy they're trailing is Jackson Yeager out in Moose Jaw. And there's another RBI to the mantle. We'll watch Dale come in to score. Dvorak's going to halt around first here, and he's got another. Now he ties the league lead. Of course, we don't know the numbers in Moose Jaw tonight, but that would have tied the previous leaders total in Yeager.
Yeah, a nice piece of hitting by Dvorak. Just kept his head right on the ball, and pitch was low and away, and he just took it out to left field.
And now 1 on, 1 out. Freeman at the top of the order. And throughout this Freeman at bat, we'll update you on some of the WCBL scores. Is that one out of the reach of the third baseman in Matchy, and it's a base hit for Freeman. Would have had to have been a perfect jump to the side for Matchy to get that ball. He lost his glasses in the process, and just a better hit in that case from Freeman.
Yeah, it had lots of top spin on it. Freeman hits the ball hard, and now we got UC up. Matchy is going to play somewhat in at third. If the bunt's down to him, he'll have to come and get it. But 1 away, I don't expect he'll be bunting.
It looks like we'll check on those scores now during Uzawa's at bat.
Oh, he looked like he was going to bunt.
He pulls it away. Let's look over to Fort Mac as they take on Lethbridge tonight. It's in the top of the 5th inning, 3-0 for the Giants. Lethbridge has been really solid this year. They're first in the West Division, but Fort Mac trying to play catch-up as they're at the bottom of the standings. Going to pick up a few games. Uzawa with a perfect bunt down. And everybody is going to be safe.
That'll be another base hit.
Perfect would be an understatement. Sticking to the dew in that grass, and it had Gurr on his knees as he slipped, and now looks like there's going to be a meeting at the mound.
Well, anytime you can have the pitcher run in and straight towards home plate and have to feel the ball and throw it to first with Usawa's speed, it's going to be close. So I love what JT is doing. He's putting pressure on the defense. You've got to make these plays. And they did on the sacrifice bunt, but then we were able to execute and drive in the runner from third base, Blake Dale. But now with Usawa, again, you're putting pressure on because you want to make a play, and hastily sometimes causes great confusion and disastrous results.
And this one's for those American listeners, but the Dogs are in a worse situation than going to Chick-fil-A on a Sunday as Carter Roth comes up to bat. Bases loaded with just 1 out. And if you have no idea what I just talked about, Chick-fil-A is not open on Sundays.
Oh, like Kentucky Fried Chicken?
No, Chick-fil-A is the new craze. They got one up in Calgary.
No, but down in the States, they'd have Kentucky Fried.
They would, yes. You best believe.
Well, we saw what Volcano did last time.
High throw over the head of Roth.
Again, he just wants to get the ball to the outfield.
There's nobody better in the business. The only guy close might be another Carter. That's Carter Beck in doing things like that. This one is barreled hard right into the knees of Matchy. 1 run in to score. Freeman's in to score. And so the Mavs add another 2 runs to the board.
That was a rocket. Wow. Matchy had no chance on that. So Volcano with 4 RBIs tonight.
And Matchy with the base running error earlier, and then he's had 2 balls that were just tough plays. Nothing he can do. But he's been caught in a real bad situation this game, and he's wearing the horns at the moment. 5-0 Mavericks, still 2 on.
Oh, I'm sorry, that was Carter Roth. My mistake to the Roth family. Let's see if Aaron can do it here.
Well, I didn't even realize your mistake, Wayne, so
Yeah.
you're all good over here.
I was getting ahead of myself. Oh, don't get picked off.
We've seen Uzawa almost get caught in a trap back there in games prior at home this year. And once again, they're going to check on him.
Boy, Roth is 3 for 3 tonight. And that last one, he tattooed that. If that was up in the air, that was over the score clock in left field.
And you don't want to jump too ahead of yourself, but the pace that he's on could be record-breaking as Volcano will send a slow one. They're going to throw it over to first, and they'll get Aaron Volcano for the second out, but it'll advance 2 runners. So the Mavs still with an opportunity to get 2 more in. Evan Morrison coming to the plate. But speaking of Roth being 3 for 3 again and still having a batting average as high as he does, the best batting average in WCBL/WMBL history is 467 by Mitch McDonald, played for the 2010 Regina Red Sox. And if we take a peek here, intentional walk to Morrison. If we take a peek here at Roth, he's batting .517 at the moment, and that'll only go up after tonight's game.
Yeah. But it's such a long season yet. If he can bat 400, that would be a phenomenal season.
Well, even if he could bat 300 from here on out, that would be a great season.
Yeah. So ninth hitter to come to the plate. Let's see if Babia can continue his hot streak. Sometimes you get a little offended when they intentionally walk the batter in front of you because it's an insult. They think, well, we can't get that guy out, but we can certainly get this guy out. So Babiak has something to prove.
And it's interesting because in terms of batting average, Babiak is quite a bit higher than Evan Morrison. Now, Morrison can punish you with the long ball.
Yeah.
But even over the last couple of games, I think most teams would rather take their chances with Morrison than Babiak.
Well, if you look at just batting average, yes. But if you say, what's been happening in this game? Well, Morrison hit the ball pretty far, his one at-bat, and Babiak had the little dribbler up the middle, so they're probably looking at just this game.
Babiak will get a ball on that one. Similar location were the last two. And just a heads up for those at home, we think that Gurr is still in the game, but with the black and red combination on the jerseys, it's hard to see. Babiak, a swing and a miss, and it's 2-2.
I'm sorry, who is it still in this game?
Is Seth Gurr still in the game, though?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because they did have someone warming up there a while ago.
Yeah. But no, this is Seth Gurr.
Babiak, swing and a miss. That will do it. So the Mavs leave the bases loaded, but they do churn in 3 runs and take a 5-0 lead. But a big final out from Gurr. We saw what happened last time the Dawgs were in this park. They came back down quite a few runs and give themselves a chance to do it again. But they got to get going as we've entered the 6th. And we always take a look at every single game, a player head-to-head, and the players that were chosen for tonight both aren't playing in this game, but the reason we chose both Tyler Vanesti and Connor Croson is because we did a comparison of their 2024 stats in game 1 of the season. So we wanted to take a look and see how they're doing now come 2025, and it's been a great start for both sides. 19 hits for Tyler Vanesti, who was out-dueled in that category last year by Connor Croson. Croson was 17 for himself. Tyler Vanesti, 15 runs batted into Croson's 13, another category that Croson led in last year. And Vanesti, once again, home runs, 4, near the top of the league in home runs, and wins this matchup with Croson, who's a great power hitter for a guy that's also known primarily as a guy that, or as a contact hitter. But he just has the 1 home run, which is bizarre for him this year. We'll see if that trend continues. Both guys not in the lineup tonight, so 2 of the best not on the dirt tonight. And as this game goes on, of course, it's Friday night, so we will have your Friday night player spotlight highlighting all of the returning Mavs so far this year. And we've talked about Micah Dvorak and Blake Dale in the past, but another member who's playing in tonight's game will be talked about in a few innings. Of course, as I mentioned before, our communities and universities segment, always a fun one to get to. That's coming up later. We'll take a look at who's been leading the way for the Dawgs over the past couple of seasons and who's back again this year. Speaking of getting back to things, let's get back to some of the scores around the league. I know we didn't finish, so Fort Mac still up 3-0, bottom of the 5th against Lethbridge in Fort Mac. Long trip up there for the Bulls. Brooks and Sask tied at 4 apiece in the top of the 6th inning. That was a game that Brooks led 3-0 at one point, but the Berries, as they do all so often, battling back. Moose Jaw Miller Express up 11 big ones to the Swift Current 57-0 in Swift Current. That is the top of the 4th inning as this one's fouled towards the Dawgs dugout. And it's the bottom of the 4th in Regina. The Red Sox down 6-5 to the Weyburn Beavers. The Beavers trying to recover from what was a very slow start to 2025. They're sitting second last in the East currently with a 4-7 record, but a win tonight would get them closer to Regina and closer to a playoff spot, as this one's outside and not close to the plate for Garrick Levesque, who's entered the game. Xander Roberts' day is done, and another 0 earned runs as he continues to have that average plummet. Count is full here. Levesque getting his first taste of Barry Eisman. Steven Elsner waiting on deck. This one is jumped up into left center field, and it's a base hit. Thinking about 2 for a moment was Eisman over at first, but he'll trudge back. So there's one on here for the Dawgs, and an important one on. You got to start to put bodies on bases, and more importantly for the Dawgs, they got to start to put bodies through home plate. It has been a tall task.
Yeah, they've got 8 hits to the Mavs' 9 hits, but unfortunately they haven't been able to take advantage of the many base runners that they've had. They've had 7 base runners on.
Elsner takes a strike, and this game's highlighted by a few key mistakes.
Yeah.
Eric Matchey with the poor base running and Freeman's big play in center field. Not one of them.
Yeah, that would have tied the game at 2-2.
Ooh, long reach there from King. Good work. Keeps the double play in effect. The Mavs 5 runs in the last 2 innings. We talked about their ability to put crooked numbers on the board. Neither of those crooked numbers, and they haven't had that sort of inning yet. Can they win a game where they don't have an inning that could be categorized as a masterclass?
Good pitch there. Good fastball on the outside corner.
This one is hammered and caught at short. Good play by Uzawa, and a good play as well by the base runner and Eisman. It was a hard-hit ball. If he takes off right away, they got a chance to double him up.
Yeah, the old philosophy, freeze on the line drive, and he did a good job of that. Elsner has to be a little disappointed. He hit the ball hard. It just was right at Usawa.
And Benito Bonilla, we talk about another one of those crucial mishaps, and it was Bonilla over in right field who let one drop right next to him after he'd been tracking it the whole way.
Not much of a lead by Eisman at first base.
There's a strike picked up by Garrick Levesque.
Good crowd here tonight. I'm going to think there's around 1,400.
Lots of good crowds recently for the Mavs, as there's a swing and a miss. And Sunday was one of the best we've seen. Little League Day.
Yeah.
This place was filled to the brim. Remarkable to see the community of Medicine Hat pouring out for their team. And strike 3 called. Bonilla with a smile on his face. He could not believe it. Two outs
pitch
here. Levesque with some good work early on. And maybe part of the reason why the Mavs have had a solid crowd tonight is that they're going on a road trip here. Another one. They spent 3 games on the road in Sask throughout the week. And they'll be headed right back out there after tonight. This one going to be pushed out. Dvorak might have a play on it. He's going to have a play as it stayed fair. No extra loop on that hit. And the Mavs with 3 outs up on the board. Once again blanking the Dawgs. And as I was mentioning about the schedule, 2 out in Regina Saturday, Sunday for the Mavericks. One of their rare road trips on the weekend. Dale hits this one off the toe of the bat, and it's a quick 1-out play here for Munoz. There's not a lot of room for error when you hit one near Munoz, as we saw earlier. He's so quick, and even the best of hits, he can make look like nothing.
Yeah, he made such a great play earlier in the game. Dale hit that ball hard. It's kind of like Elsner last inning. Hit it hard, but right at the shortstop, and they don't make too many mistakes.
King, the Lindsay, Ontario native, takes a strike. Big Toronto Maple Leafs fan. We talked about them in this show. He was also disappointed in the result for his team this season. High throw to King here. He's done a real nice job behind the plate tonight. Other than the one bouncing away, which he had no business being able to get anyways, he's moved well with the ball, blocked everything, used his chest well. Ball going to roll away from Wrobleski.
You know, from the first week of the season, and not sure whether other viewers have noticed this, but there were a lot of wild pitches, a lot of pass balls, and boy, have the teams cleaned that up. You know, we don't see a lot of wild pitches or pass balls anymore.
One fouled off by King, and it's crazy to say, but you think back to 3 years ago, how many wild pitches and balls were being thrown by pitchers, and I think the standard of play has made a significant jump from 3 years ago. And Wayne, you talked about off air, the standard at which has, as that play is missed there at short, as we're talking about standard of play. But the pitching since the league began and how it's improved. This has really become a competitive league.
Yeah, I can't remember 3 years ago, let alone last week or 2 weeks ago, but I do remember a couple of weeks ago there was a lot of wild pitches and pass balls, but that'll be an error on the third baseman, Matchy. It went off his glove and then off the shortstop's glove. So we've got King at first base.
Yeah, a rough night for the Illinois State infielder.
Dvorak with that clutch RBI, his last at-bat, to put the Mavs up 3-0.
Now, the one thing that the Dawgs can use for some gas here would be a double play. This is not an easy guy.
No.
To not only double up when he does hit the ball, but the more important part is he usually doesn't hit it into a spot for there to be a double play available.
He is a great spray hitter. He hits it all over the field, and he does have some power.
And I asked him when he struggled to start last season, and even at times in the first game this season, what changed for Micah? And he said, I just stopped caring. I went up there and I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to stop caring and I'm just going to hit the baseball. And it has worked well. This one right up the gut. And not thinking about it at all. Just another base hit for Micah Dvorak. 2 on here for the Mavs with just 1 out.
That's his second hit. And now we're at the top of the order.
Jeremy Freeman made an excellent play on defense earlier on tonight.
That was a great double play, because had that not been a double play as the inning evolved, the Dawgs would have scored 2 runs, because Crowell came up and crushed that double.
And they talk about the 2-shot swing in golf. Well, potentially a 4-run swing here for Freeman if he can drive these 2 in.
He took a vicious cut at that curveball. There'll be timeout. Pitching coach going out to the mound, or the manager?
So they'll talk with Gurr. Lots of work today for the Coaldale native. It feels like his day might be done sooner or later. But they're going to allow him to try and get out of the 6th inning.
Boy, I still like him as a pitcher. You know, he might be down 5-0, but they're going to win a lot of games with him on the mound.
I was going to say, couldn't agree more. His stuff is great. He has great control, and he doesn't walk batters.
Yeah.
If you were to build your ideal WCBL pitcher, all of those things would be factors. And it is really a different ball game without that play from Freeman, as we talked about.
Yeah, there's only been one walk tonight, and that was an intentional walk to Morrison, so it's really not against Gurr at all.
Good stretch out there from Wrobleski.
Again, as you mentioned, we can't see the numbers on the back of the uniforms for the Dogs. There is somebody getting very warm down in the bullpen. All we know is that he throws right-handed.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of players on the Dogs that throw right-handed. This one gravitates towards the strike zone and hits. It's 2-2.
I think Gurr's going to come with a high fastball here. He got Freeman on that earlier.
Just got to make sure he locates it high enough.
Oh, fastball been missed outside. This could be Freeman's last pitch here, I would think. Or I'm sorry, Gurr's last pitch.
Yeah, it looks like the pitcher down in the bullpen was just whispered something. Of course, we can't see or even guess what it would be. Freeman's going to fly this one into right field. Bonilla is going to get under it. And the Mavs runners will stay put. Let's see if there's any movement here or if Gurr gets another batter. I'll say, Wayne, I believe that it was also his last batter regardless of the situation, but looks like Gurr's going to get another matchup here against Uzawa. Uzawa's done well with runners in scoring position lately, especially the past couple of games. He's had some big hits, some bases clearing hits. This one's going to be along the ground, however, and it's clamped over at second, and that's the third out. So Gurr will end his day similar to the man he faced to start today in Xander Roberts. Both ending with runners stranded behind them. And although the Dogs are behind by 5, big moment for Gurr to keep his boys in it. And now let's take a closer look at why the Okotoks Dogs are the Okotoks Dogs. Well, it is all built within their all-star DNA, and there's a couple of guys who have had legacies built off of their all-star appearances. All 3 of them are not in this game. Some haven't even arrived yet, such as Logan Grant. The catcher is the only active player in the WCBL to make 3 all-star games. He made 2 with the Dogs in 2024 and 2023, and in 2022 he made 1 appearance with the Swift Current 57s. It's been a theme of all-stars leaving the 57s organization, such as Claver Martina or Ethan Murdoch, Grant doing that long before those 2 had even entered the league. Connor Croson, we've talked a lot about him tonight, has 2 all-star appearances for himself, so he's in that upper echelon of active players with the most all-star appearances. And he's made the all-star team in back-to-back years, 2023, 2024. He's also the playoff MVP in 2024. And on the pitching side, Ryan McFarland has been a staple of this Dogs group. 2 all-star appearances in 22 and 23, but his streak ended last season not being selected as one of the 2024 all-stars. He will look to return to the big game, which is in Okotoks again this year. So not only have the Dogs hosted it every year, but they have hosted the most players of any team year in and year out. So now that you have a bit more familiarity with who the big dogs are on this Okotoks Dogs team, we won't be seeing any of them today, but you'll be aware as the season goes on as Levesque throws one in there for a high first strike. And we are already in the top of the 7th, just 8:50 local time here, which means that this game has only been an hour and 40 minutes to date. This one over to Uzawa. He stumbled with it. A bouncer to first, and Morrison will drop it. But Uzawa rushing the throw as he didn't get it clean off the dirt.
Yeah, it should be an error on Uzawa, and it is.
And the Mavs have capitalized all night on plays like that from the Dawgs. Can the Dawgs use it to their advantage now? Could be the turning point in this game. And with a guy like Caden Williams, who has struck many times tonight up at the plate against Levesque, this could be the time to do it. First throw is a strike from Levesque. Nobody warming up behind Garrick. Waiting on deck is Zane Skansky. Williams. A foul backwards, and he's quickly behind 0-2. Collecting it is Levesque. Look over at first, now the dealing, and it's fouled aside by Williams.
Williams' last at-bat was that deep fly ball to center field with Roberts pitching, and at that time he had 2 strikes on him, and he was just waiting for that hanging curveball, and he got it, but Freeman robbed him out in center field.
Williams, another foul similar to the one in the swing prior.
They had Matchy going back to first base. He thought Levesque was throwing over to first, but he wasn't.
Count is 1-2. A miss again from Levesque. Here's one hit high. Ooh, it's giving Dvorak lots of trouble, and he is going to lose it. It's off the wall. Matchy will round third. Long throw from Dvorak won't be in time, and the Dawgs have their first run of the game. So 2 defensive mishaps here for the Mavericks have allowed the Dawgs to bring their first run in, and you can't fault Levesque here.
No, that was a double off the wall. That ball just kept sailing, and again, Williams, he just waits for that curveball, that hanging curveball, and he was robbed on a home run last time, and this time it was hit right up against the wall, and it's 350, probably where he hit it, 355, but not out.
Yeah, it had Dvorak in a pickle, and no outs here as the Dawgs have a guy over on second, and they're in business. And the Mavs only out hitting Okotoks by 1 tonight, 10-9. They still got a 4-run lead, but as we know with Okotoks, that's never safe. We saw them come back on Sylvan Lake earlier this year, although they did end up losing that game.
They came back on us when we were up 10-6, and they scored 5 on us in the bottom of the 8th.
And although some of those games haven't resulted in a victory, you know what's going to happen eventually. This one hit high, and it should be no doubt, and it is over the scoreboard. Wow, what a hit for Zane Skansky. He comes alive after being walked twice to start the day. The Dawgs are within 2 on the road.
Yeah, Skansky, he took about 2 steps out of the box and then just started his home run trot. He knew it right away.
And that will do it for Levesque. Of course, the home run he's got to own, but the 2 plays prior that allowed 2 runs to come in, those on his defense.
Well, that ball off the wall wasn't an error. That was a double. But yeah, it started off bad with that error at first base. You get the first hitter out of the inning, and your defense starts looking pretty good and feels pretty good. And Okotoks, they felt the door was opening up a little bit, and now they kicked it wide open.
Yeah, and still no outs here. Nash Kroll to the plate. Wrobleski on deck. Eisman in the hole. Mavs have done well with the bottom half of the Dawgs order. But the high part has gotten to them, and this middle part always dangerous as well. Wrobleski isn't having a good night at the plate, so maybe you feel as though he's due. Kroll didn't go. Throw a ball from Levesque. A pitcher warming up for the Mavericks. I believe it is Luke Barrientos, but he's standing a long ways away. Kroll's going to put this one up in the air, and Dale is going to get underneath of it. First out here for the Mavericks in the 7th. Coming up in the middle of our 7th, we will take a look at who's a part of our Friday night flashback, or Friday night spotlight, rather. But it is a bit of a flashback as well, as we're talking about players from last season who are still here. And Levesque has one now. Let's see if he can turn this into a domino effect and get the next few. Wrobleski is up to bat first with a red turtleneck and long red sleeves. A lot of these Dawgs hitters have distinctive qualities or articles of clothing about them. Of course, Elsner with the pink gloves, red gloves on Barry Eisman, who's batting behind Wrobleski. Those white sleeves for Munoz. A red chin protector. I'm not even sure if that's the right word for it, that Crowell has. So all these ball players have defining qualities, and they get to let their style show every once in a while. Levesque, that one's high, and it's 3-1. King not happy with it. He darted that one back towards the mound. A bit of a frustrating throw.
Yeah, we need to get the momentum back on our side by getting these next two guys out, or at least shut the door from the scoring.
One past King, and it's going to be a walk to Wrobleski. And JT is already in the dirt here. He's coming to get Levesque. So as Levesque is taken off the mound, me and Wayne, we're going to take a break and come back with a new pitcher on the mound. It looks like Luke Barrientos is the next man up, but we will see in a few. Man, this game is starting to change.
Yeah, the momentum is back over onto the first base dugout, and unfortunately that's not ours.
Runner's going to go. King in and out of the glove. Throw towards first, and he's safe. It's a close play over at second. I know the throw was a little high, but
Yeah,
it looked like Wrobleski had to get through Uzawa to get to the bag.
Well, yeah, Wrobleski didn't look like he was going to go right away, and then all of a sudden, he was just like a shot out of a cannon, and he slid in safely at second base. So another runner in scoring position.
Dawgs with a chance to get this one within one. The Mavs just have the one out at the moment. Here's the throw. It's going to hit for a strike, and a less than excited reaction there from Elsner.
Couple of seagulls on the field in right field.
Couple extra fielders out there
Yeah.
alongside Aaron Volcano. The Mavs could use the help. Here's one flung. Long way to go. Roth won't have a play on it as it lands on the top of the dugout. Stepping back onto the mound here is... Well, I've lost my train of thought at who we have pitching. But I believe it's Barrientos. And runner's going to go. This one's going to be hit up the middle, and what a smart choice there from Wrobleski. He will score with ease.
Yeah, he wasn't getting looked back at all, and he had third base stolen, and on the single by Eisenman, he comes around to score.
Elsner up, and the Mavs still just have one out in an inning that has gone on longer than maybe this entire game. And a frustrating inning for the Mavericks, who led 5-0 at one point. But this is Okotoks. This is what you have to expect when you see a team this good.
Well, we know they're going to have their innings as well as we have our innings. And now, we just can't sit around and think that 5 runs is going to win this game.
Low one from Barrientos. Of course, he's not charged with any earned runs because they were not his. That base runner was Levesque's. Swing and a miss there from Elsner as Barrientos back in the strike zone.
Yeah, we just need a ground ball.
Miss again from Barrientos as he's got a 2-1 count. Back onto his butt there was King.
Yeah, we're falling behind. This is a good time to run.
Falling apart as well. Swing and a miss there from Elsner. It seems like when the Mavs find the strike zone, outside of the one homer from Levesque, it's not the worst result. It has been getting to that strike zone that has been a struggle here for Barrientos and previously Levesque. And a swing and a miss there for Elsner. So take a little bit off to get a better result as Barrientos.
Well, that was a good curveball, and you had Elsner out front on it. Yeah, we just need to pitch ahead where we fall behind and then we're having to scrap to get back. And I say just have to pitch ahead because that's what they're trying to do. It just doesn't work out as often as we'd like to up here.
Trying to hold that up was King. It's 2-0. And especially when Wayne says that, I think that's for the game flow and for any team in general, regardless of whether it's in this game or another game, when pitchers throw strikes, it's better for the game. Speaking of that, there's Barrientos with a little treat for everybody. And a low one.
The thing is, if you're throwing lots of strikes, you get those close calls that you don't get when you're throwing lots of balls. And that's from the umpire.
And not close again is Barrientos. That's a free pass.
And then the other thing that happens when you're throwing lots of strikes, the hitters now are thinking, man, anything close I got to be swinging at because it could be anywhere, but I know it's going to be a strike. This way, they can wait patiently. They don't have to chase those pitches that are borderline because they're always up in the count.
And this is a mature dog squad. They know when a pitcher isn't on, they're just going to wait. They're not going to rush it. And they're going to let, in this case, Barrientos make the mistakes. And there's another one that's a ball. We don't have an official total of how many balls to strikes Barrientos has thrown, but it can't be close. And that's with a strikeout in the mix. Runners jumping around behind him. Swing and a miss there as he gets one on Munoz. Matchy is on deck. He started this whole thing.
Yeah, we're at the ninth hitter here, and Munoz, he's 0 for 3 tonight, but he's due. And he hasn't struck out, so you know he's going to put the bat on the ball.
2-1 the count. Munoz out of Simpson University. The junior will move to the side. Now the Mavericks have a body warming up right away. And it's Gary Dornan, the youngster, the 17-year-old. Dornan started on Sunday. There's a swing and a miss from Munoz. And they haven't been able to hit Barrientos when he's been in the strike zone. Here comes the 3-2. Munoz off the tip of the bat. That was a safe swing there.
Yeah, just excuse me. I'm just going to foul this off because I got a little bit fooled on it. Good piece of hitting.
Let's go again. Here's Barrientos, and strike 3 looking. There wasn't a lot in the zone during that from Barrientos, but he gets Munoz with one there, and the Mavs, despite a 4-run masterpiece from the Dawgs, still do have a 1-run lead, but it is in the Dawgs' favor right now. They're moving, and this is champion DNA on display. We'll see if the Dawgs can pull it off. And as a part of our 7th inning stretch, let's take a look at today's university feature, and that's Doane College, or Doane University rather, in Crete, Nebraska. Students enrolled there currently 1,879. That's not a whole lot as compared to Ottawa University, who we did before. It is the oldest private university in Nebraska. It was renamed to a university in 2016. So although I made the error of calling it a college before, that was the case until recently. It was named after William Doane, who was a wealthy New York businessman, And the most famous alumni from there, Wayne, this might be more of in your time, is Robert Taylor. He was one of the most famous actors, apparently in the 50s, and he won many awards and was in many famous movies. So I am not aware of who that was until I did my research on this. But if you know who that is out there, feel free to fill us in on some more history about Robert Taylor. There's also a lot of people named Robert Taylor, so could even be your neighbor.
Well, if it was Elizabeth Taylor, I'd remember, but not Robert.
And I'm not even sure who that is, so 0 for 2 on my end. And let's check back in now that our 7th inning stretch has come to a close. Carter Roth will be up to bat. And I'm not sure who's on the mound now, Wayne. We didn't get a sign.
Yeah.
Could it still be Seth Gurr?
It actually looks like Gurr yet.
Trying to make
No, listen.
Trey Mackwood.
Yeah, Trey Mackwood.
He got the loss last time they played here. He came in and threw that wild pitch. And although one of the runs was very much on him, the second one I'm not sure I can put towards Mackwood as fouling that off is Roth. The good part for the Mavs, even though they gave up 4 runs last inning, they are still in the lead. As much as that it doesn't feel like that, they are. And a large reason for that is Carter Roth. Another spectacular day. Regardless of what he does from here on out, it was another great day at the ballpark. That one's going to miss. Mackwood with a heavy step there in frustration. Count is 2-2. Behind Roth will be Aaron Volcano, who's responsible for hitting a 2-run homer. The first 2 runs of this game were because of Volcano. This one will bounce right above us.
Just missed that. Roth was right on that fastball.
Yeah, that one would have been on the first tee up at the golf course.
Yeah.
And if you're new to our broadcast and you're not sure what that means, Medicine Hat Golf and Country Club is just above Athletic Park. And Roth will avoid that. And tell you what I'm talking about, if you can see those trees on our screen, if you look up top, that is the golf course.
Yeah, it'd be right in left center field, basically all along.
Roth will rope that one.
Oh, good catch.
And a good play down there right at the wall. Roth had some power. It was tough to see the catch from this angle, but it is made in left field by Elsner.
That was probably the ball that he hit the hardest tonight, and he doesn't get a hit, even though he's 3 for 4.
What a funny game this is.
Yeah. Yeah, he scorched that one. Mind you, that one at the third baseman was a rocket, too.
He almost gave Matchy a heart attack.
Yeah.
First pitch to Aaron Volcano is a ball. Swing and a miss on a flamethrower there from Mackwood. Trey Mackwood out of Panola State Community College. Standing 6'1" out there on the mound.
Volcano a little bit behind on the fastball, which is unlike him. He's a really good fastball hitter. But both swings, he was behind.
Let's see if Mackwood goes back to it.
Oh, he
Volcano's
didn't,
going to
and
turn on this one, and it is going to be foul.
He was waiting for it.
We talked about the signs of a mature hitter. There's another one right in front of your eyes.
Yeah, as a hitter, you can't guess, but you have to anticipate based upon what you feel that the pitcher has been throwing before you.
Does he go with
Other
something
hitters.
off speed now to completely change the narrative? Another one roped away foul.
That was a fastball.
Does he now go with something off speed and put this at bat on its head?
I think he's going to go curveball, perhaps even bounce it in the dirt. Oh, he fouled it back.
That one a bit lower than previous. Volcano with a long, healthy at bat. This one's going to be hit down to Matchy. Rocket to first. Volcano went diving in, and they get him. He was begging towards the first base umpire, and he may have had a case. And fans not happy about that. JT is storming out towards first base. I think he's got a point.
Yeah, I think he was there safely. He was already coming up from his slide. But
And watching the throw that Matchy had to make to get it to first base, even close to in time, I think that shows how close that play is and why it leans in Volcano's favor.
well, Shuchuk saw something as the umpire at first base that nobody else in the stadium saw.
And that includes Stevie Wonder, who's in the front row. I'm just joking. Stevie Wonder is not here, but if he was, that would be a treat.
Well, it was close, and there's lots of close plays. Sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't.
Ooh, a bouncer off the knee, and
That hit the umpire.
but we should speak about the home plate umpire and the job he's done tonight.
Yeah, he's
really,
been very
really
good.
solid behind the plate.
Yeah.
One of the better performances we've seen.
Yeah, Matt Ben has done an excellent job. There hasn't really been a call by Fear at third base. The close ones have been at first base, and they usually are.
It's an umpire's favorite day when you don't have to be involved in any action or any close ones. The opposite is for Shuchuk. He's had a lot of close ones down on that line.
He has.
Morrison into the sky. It's going to be played over there in left field. And speaking of busy, it's been a busy inning for Elsner as he makes his second play. And good on the Dawgs' end. Another 0 here. Back-to-back innings. They got a chance to go out and grab it. Mavs 6 outs away from extending their home win streak, but it's not going to be easy with the Dawgs on the prowl. So as the promo leaves the field and potentially a slightly intoxicated member of the crowd spends a little extra time waving to fans, we get back to the action here at Athletic Park. First pitch is a strike here from Barrientos.
Top of the order for the Dawgs.
Big challenge here for Barrientos.
Well, let's get leadoff hitter and then see what happens from there.
Barrientos is in for the rest of the game. He's got 6 outs to pull out. There is a pitcher warming up down there still for the Mavericks. This one is flailed, and it hits the top of the netting as it was heading towards the Dawgs dugout.
That just about hit him on the fist. That was so far inside. Now, give him a fastball again.
This one's sent up into flight. Ooh, this is going to be a tricky play, and a nice play made by Blake Dale. He took command, used his wheels to get there in time, and that's a big first out for Medicine Hat. Some extra confidence Barrientos way as well.
Well, get that leadoff hitter, and you know, you take away some other situations that the Dawgs might be looking at. This guy has not been an easy out tonight. He's 3 for 4.
One's going to miss on the way towards Williams. Yeah, there's a reason he's hitting number 2.
Yeah, to me, he waits for that curveball.
Strike there from Barrientos. JT's got to like what he's seeing if this is the Barrientos that the Mavericks get for the rest of the 8th. Missing to that left side.
Yeah, just a little outside.
And that time he reels it back in. Another close game here at Athletic Park. This is all it's been. They don't give anybody a chance to settle down or rest. Even the games that have been blowouts, other than the Lethbridge one, but some of those against Weyburn had their fair share of tense moments. Of course, we know about Moose Jaw in the other Okotoks game. Those were barn burners. Of course, the last game here, hit by pitch, Tyler Vanesti, and that was all she wrote.
That was a curveball, and Williams was waiting for it, and he missed it.
Barrientos got to be thinking, just don't give him another. Here comes the throw. Into flight, over towards right, Volcano. He is under it. Freeman was playing behind as a safety net, and the Mavs have a second, but Williams almost making Barrientos pay there with a hard hit off the barrel.
It was a good curveball. He kept it low and in, and Williams just couldn't get to it.
Now let's take another look at what's happening around the WCBL. It's the bottom of the 8th inning. Hey, almost the same place that we are here in Fort Mac, and the Giants a 5-0 lead over Lethbridge. Boy, that division is becoming a mess over in the West. Teams scattered, but all still fairly close.
Yeah.
As a big win for the Giants. Could be a big win for the Giants tonight. Top of the 8th over in Brooks. It is 5-4 in favor of the Berries, who've played catch-up for most of the game, but they've gotten on top. Bottom of the 7th in Swift, 14-2 in favor of the Miller Express. Bottom of the 6th in Regina, and the Red Sox have now taken the lead. It is 10-2, or 10-8 rather. And I'm not really sure what's going on with the score bug, but looking here between Sask and Brooks, it says top of the first 5-0 for the Berries. So I'm not sure if the other game has already come to a close.
I actually think they're playing a 9-inning game.
They might be.
I thought it might be 2 7-inning games, but I think they're just playing the first game yet.
Here's one flared. Uzawa is under it. That is what Barrientos and company needed. 3 up, 3 down, and they're 3 outs away from winning another one here at AP. But can they get a little bit of insurance? We will see next. But before we get to that point, let's take a look at our player profile for tonight, as we do every Friday night. And it is player who is in this game, Jaden Babiak. He played with the Mavs last year and then the Fort Mac Giants prior. He played with former Medicine Maverick Tori Nelson, who he was coached by here last year, but at Valley City, they were teammates. Speaking of Valley City, he was coached by Jonathan Thornhill at Valley City State this year, played alongside, of course, Jamel Chabot, who's his catching partner here. We've talked about his Oiler fandom, and boy, was he happy walking into the office today. He was in the middle of a conversation, and he was celebrating in the back. 1, to get under my skin, but 2, because he's genuinely just that excited. And as I mentioned before, started his WCBL career with Fort Mac, but he's very happy to be here. He's excited to come back this year, loves Medicine Hat, loves the community, and loves this baseball team. And after our segment about Jaden Babiak, isn't it fitting that he's at the plate? Not like I tried to time that perfectly or anything, but sometimes it works out. So we have a mystery player on the mound, but
I think it's number 31.
I also believe
6'2", right-hander.
And we know Alex Oliver is a relief pitcher here for the Dawgs. He's been used in relief against Medicine Hat this year as well. So he seems like the correct option.
Well, we need Babiak to get on base somehow. He's such a good bunter. I'd like to see him put down a bunt. Third baseman playing back. $1,350 fans here tonight, and the 50-50 was $1,170.
Count is 1-2 to Babiak. And we apologize if the pitcher is wrong at the mound, but we're going to go with Oliver for the rest of the way here, just so that we have someone to link to who it is on the mound. Oliver's going to get a swing and a foul off from Babiak.
Well, the one thing is we can't see the numbers on the Dawgs uniforms. And second thing is we don't get the umpire who will relay us the number on the mound. They just point and say there's a new pitcher on the mound, but we just guess.
Yeah, there's no microphone coming up here to say this guy is in the game. Babiak, a chop foul, and he'll stay around.
Attaboy. Jaden, keep battling.
Babiak back into the batter's box with that wide stance. He'll take that for a ball. The Mavs, it feels like with how this game has gone along, they're going to need some sort of insurance here. They're 3 outs away from riding off into what is now a sunset that is almost fully gone down.
Babiak's having a good at-bat here. He was down 0-2 or 1-2, and now he's battled back to full count.
Getting the lead runner on would be a bonus. Babiak, hard hit ball. Does this have a lot of juice? It doesn't quite have enough. It's grabbed in center field by Caden Williams, and for a guy that only has 2 career home runs in the WCBL, I think both of them coming in Brooks. That is about as hard as you can hit one. That's no knock on Babs at all.
You shouldn't have said in Brooks, because now it kind of defeats the fact that...
Hey, a home run's a home run.
Yeah, I know.
I wasn't saying it as an insult, but it looks like you flipped it that way, Wayne. Swing and a miss there from Blake Dale. It also didn't help that Babiuk hit that one to the deepest part of the park.
Yeah, that's right. You know, chances are if he hits it down the line, it's got a good chance.
Yeah, it would have been tight. Here's the throw. Dale. He spikes that one as it's going to have a long roll all the way to the back wall. Dale's got lots of speed as he rolls into second. He will hold up there. Ryan Reed giving the signal over from third base, and a big-time double.
Yeah.
When in a time that they needed an extra base hit. The Mavs have a runner in scoring position as they look to get their first run after a 2-inning absence.
That's Dale's second double of the night. Like you said, he runs well.
You might as well call that one a daily double.
That's a good one, a daily double. Yep.
Swing and a miss from King.
Yeah, another run would be nice.
Anything in green grass with the speed that Dale possesses, you got to feel good about your chances if you're the Mavs. Here's a slow one. Dale almost got caught up. He'll run back over to second. They're going to get King.
Good base running by Blake Dale. He wanted to go. His mind was saying yes, yes, but his better instinct said no, and that's a good decision.
And he may have slipped there as well. It looked like he had trouble with his footing. 2 outs for Micah Dvorak.
Dvorak is 2 for 3. Be nice to see another clutch hit from Micah.
He's got a couple of RBIs in there as well.
Yeah.
Freeman has been one of the most consistent hitters in the league. Who's behind him? Is there any thought about intentionally walking Dvorak with the damage that he does as just a spray hitter?
No. As a coach, you want to go after this guy right now.
Even with the kind of threat that he is?
Yeah, because there's no insurance that you're going to get the next guy out. So now you're putting another runner on base. And if the next guy hits a double, now you're giving up 2 runs, not just 1, by going after this guy. Now, if they fall behind on him, they might say, well, let's see what we can do. But, you know, Freeman's got a hit tonight as well.
Almost looks like they're pitching around him here.
Yeah.
A couple of those haven't been close. That one a strike.
I think Dvorak would like to see that pitch again.
Three and one the count. Oliver collects, steps forward, and sends that one high. So Dvorak now gets his walk. Won't have to think about that last pitch anymore. And the Mavs have their lead-off batter, Jeremy Freeman Jr. There'll be a mound meeting here with Oliver. Not an easy spot for Oliver to come into in this game. Gurr was in it for most of tonight. Oliver's got the tricky assignment of keeping this just a 1-run lead with 2 looming.
Yeah, it's a big spot in this game.
The one thing working in the Dawgs' favor is the 2 outs. And does Jeremy Freeman Jr. have a big moment in him? Strike to Freeman. He didn't like that call. He looks right back towards his dugout.
That's a good pitch. Get ahead.
Floater in.
It's only been curveballs so far to Freeman.
Freeman, ooh. A punishing hit that goes foul, and it lands in between about 5 different kids on that first base side.
It's a good fastball by Oliver.
Freeman behind in the count and down to his final strike. This one along the ground. It is going to be flipped over to third, and they do get him at third. Dale thought it was a close play. That was a tough play to make with the flea flicker, and Matchy was hanging on with his toe on the bag.
Great play by Munoz because it was a slow roller, and to get Freeman going down the line might have been really tough, and it's a risky play, but he made it, so kudos to him.
And you got to get away with some, especially plays like that, to win ball games. The Dawgs have a chance to tie this or take the lead in the top of the 9th, or can the Mavs bring it home once again? Tyler Spruill getting warmed up on the mound. We'll see if he has a little bit of jump for his crew. We are back. So apologies to Frank Flores, who has had his number changed not only on the score sheet, but since he was last here. We don't know when that occurred. But we do know that this is the top of the 9th inning, and Okotoks has a chance to do something special and tie this game up on the road. The last time these two teams will meet, unless they meet in the finals. That's the only possible way. And on the mound, I believe is Tyler Spruill. That one not close. Spruill behind 2-1, and there's another player warming up for the Mavericks, just in case Spruill can't close the deal.
Nash Kroll at the plate.
Gets jammed there.
He's 2 for 4 tonight. Hit a double.
Count is 2-2. That first out,
Yeah,
so important.
you want to get this guy out for sure.
This one is launched. Going to be a tough play, and Dvorak's going to let it bounce.
Yeah, that had a lot of top spin on it. You can dive for that, but the ball was hit so hard, if you don't make the catch, it's an easy double. So this way, you keep the double play in effect. They'll put in a pinch runner, which they're already doing at first base. Yeah, Kroll hit the ball hard. I like the decision by Dvorak. If it's one of those floaters, yeah, you can dive for it, but that ball was crushed.
Spruill will now face Jacob Wrobleski. Barry Eisman, the DH, on deck.
And we have no idea who the runner is at first, do we?
The Okotoks Dawgs have a lot of players on their roster.
Yeah.
He's going to head back towards first. Morrison with the tap on the back, but he was in there with a lot of space.
He hesitated on that. I'd throw over there again. There we go.
Spruill does.
So Wrobleski, we know he can run. He likes getting on base and causing havoc.
Yeah, got good speed for a catcher. This one is sent foul. First
Attaboy.
pitch of the matchup against Wrobleski. Took a little time to get to that point.
Yeah, just keep throwing strikes.
Controlling what you can control is a priority here for Spruill. Throw back over to first again. Spruill wants to keep that double play in effect.
Oh, a high leg kick there.
Count is over to 1-1. Another low one misses for Spruill. Can't see the number down there, but this is a situation where A.J. Dull is often brought in if he's available.
They got him.
Back to first, and they get him!
Wow.
Fourth time's the charm. And a monstrous mistake for the Okotoks Dawgs. Having one on was a big deal, when, especially when it's that first runner, and
Yeah.
giving that up for pretty much free for Spruill and the rest of the Mavs. That is one that they will take all day, and for the Dawgs, you got to be frustrated.
Yeah.
And that one's going to miss. He didn't go, so the count's 3-1. And you think back to the last time they were here, and it was a mental mistake that cost them the game. Different play, but
Yeah.
similar result over at first.
He didn't have much of a lead.
And Spruill's going to miss there, so a five-pitch walk.
Yeah, we got to keep attacking the strike zone. This guy's caused us a lot of headaches today. Eisenman is 3 for 4.
Former All-Star. And that was just last season. One on the base path for Spruill. Here's the throw. That one never got close to the plate.
Curveball was slipped out of his hand.
Gonna miss again. Spruill cannot find the strike zone, and in a moment where you need to.
Yeah, you can't defense the walk, so you got to make him hit it. That's your job as a pitcher.
3 consecutive balls. This could be the end of the line here for Spruill if he's about to give up a walk to Eisman. Watching JT's movement down there, seeing if there's any at all.
Oh, he just needs to battle back here, get in the strike zone, make something happen.
There's a strike that hits the top corner. Spruill is known to give up his fair share of walks. He's got as many strikeouts as walks this season, 13 apiece. And he gives up a walk here. And JT is already on his way to the mound, so Spruill not able to shut it down. Take his Mavs into the win column once again.
Yeah, you need to be able to throw strikes as a relief pitcher. There's no other way to put it.
So
that'll be it.
While Spruill comes off the mound, let's take a look at who's coming into the game. And is it A.J. Dahl? That's the biggest question.
It's either him or Dornan, isn't it?
Well, what a situation this could be for a 17-year-old. As the mound conversation goes on, Wayne, let's have a conversation about our hotel sponsor, Town Place Suites by Marriott. Pretty good hotel.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place.
Have you ever been?
I've been there.
Ooh.
Yes. And I haven't stayed at this Town Place Suites, but I have stayed at a Town Place Suites.
This one's got a nice water slide. I've driven past it a few times.
We got young Gary Dornan on the mound.
It is, and what a situation this is for Dornan. There's not many words to describe it. I mean, he goes from writing exams probably the other day to looking to close out a game here in the
good for him.
Top of the ninth.
I mean, we saw him pitch here last week sometime, and he's played at the Badlands Baseball Academy up in Oyen, and why not? Let's see what you can do. And I'm happy for him. I think he's the right guy at this spot. He's from Moncton, Alberta?
New Brunswick.
Okay.
It's Moncton and no, Moncton.
Well, it says Moncton AB, but I think you're right. I think he's from
Is Moncton even in? Moncton is in New Brunswick. I've been watching the Memorial Cup. I don't know what I'm.
Well, who's
why I'm
making up
questioning
these
myself.
sheets here?
That would be Point Streak. I am.
Really?
I'm the one printing them off, so I'll take part of the blame.
Well, here we go. Steve Elsner up. He's 0 for 4 tonight.
So what does that mean, Wayne? In your
Well,
words?
let's make it 0 for 5. Let's get a ground ball. Let's one pitch double play.
The answer I was looking for is he's due.
Yeah, I know you were looking for that, but I don't. If it's our batter, I'm going to say he's due. But
Wayne, we got parents from many different teams listening.
I'm not worried about the Okotoks Dawgs parents.
Well, I am. Here's Dornan. 2-0. And what's going on here?
There's a light out
Oh,
in
I see
left
what
field.
you're talking about.
Somebody's shining a light.
Oh, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and now it's been turned off.
Somebody on that berm, I believe.
Let's see if there's any foreshadowing in that imagery down there, and if Dornan will be putting the lights out here at Athletic Park soon.
So I got to be thinking right now that Elsner is sitting dead red. 2-0. We've missed on a couple of off-speed pitches. There
Popped
it is.
up into the air. Uzawa is underneath of it. 2 out here. The Mavs have one more out to grab, and the Dawgs have one more opportunity to convert. That light has returned here to Athletic Park, as you can see it off in the distance, just right to the scoreboard, and now our PA announcer has gone and asked for the light to be turned off.
It looks like it's a flashlight of some sort, but
Well,
he is moving on now.
It reminds me of one of those laser pointers from
Yeah.
back in the day. Those were quite the distraction. You'd see him at a hockey game every once in a while.
So we got a pinch hitter in. Again, we have no idea what number it is.
And it
I
says
know these teams make cool uniforms, but they're not cool when you can't tell the numbers.
Take a guess at who's up to bat as the pinch hitter.
Croson?
It would be Connor Croson.
Yeah.
Mr. Clutch himself delivered a clutch hit last time in this building. It is littered all over his resume. C doesn't only stand for Croson, but it stands for Clutch. It also stands for Connor. Triple C.
I think we got to attack him here.
It's a high one. Dornan. Not a fan of that. Can the Dawgs see it through? Here's the throw from Dornan, and it's a strike. If there's one more in that back pocket, Gary, now is the time to pull it out.
High fastball would look nice here, I think. Just up around the letters.
But he's got a handful at the plate. Here's
There it
the
is.
throw, and it's going to miss. The turn away from Croson, a veteran move there as well. The pitch was closer than he may have made it appear, but that little turn, a smart play to make the ball seem in a different spot. Here's Dornan again. This one's going to be poked out, long way from Morrison, and he's got it. That ends the game. 8 straight at home. The Mavs, great once again as they beat the Dawgs in a thriller, 5-4. And this time, the only thing that Connor Croson will see is the bus. He's seen a lot of great moments for his own eyes, but tonight he sees one from the other side. The Mavericks, they just do not stop, Wayne. This is a remarkable run at home. And although the record for most consecutive wins to start a season at home is 20, they're still on pace at this moment in time with 8 in a row and 2 in a row on the regular score sheet as they pile Swift's game and this game together. They got a little bit of a streak going.
Yeah.
And most importantly, again, from their perspective, Okotoks, a dominant team, the best. No question about it. They take 2 off of them this year. A super impressive feat, and they do it against one of the best hitters that this league has seen in the past 5 years in a massive moment. Morrison with a great rundown to get it. You don't draw him up that way or that dramatic, but this one just seemed to unfold that way tonight. We will have more with our Mavs postgame right after a word from our official network in Flow Sports. Welcome to the Mavs postgame show here from Athletic Park in what was, and we've said this a lot this year, but one of the best performances of the year on both sides. Just an incredible game, Wayne. 5-4 Mavs take it with the Dawgs right on their heels towards the very end. And it really all started with a solid performance from Xander Roberts today on the mound. He was great again, proved his worth, showed that he is going to be a guy the Mavs can rely on regardless of what the team is. But on the other side of it, you were really impressed with two batters leading the charge tonight.
Yeah, I thought Carter Roth and Aaron Volcano had great games tonight. Both of them came up clutch. Roth just continues to hit the ball, batting at an over 500 clip, and Volcano is clutch as we thought he would be. And, I'll also mention Micah Dvorak. That was a key hit in the inning where we scored 3 runs. We were just up by 2. And he put us up by 3, and then everybody started rolling in behind that. We got 3 hits right after that, and we made the score 5-0. But those 3 guys really impressed me tonight with the bats.
And the score wouldn't have ended 5-4. It may have been 5-0 if it wasn't for performances like the one that Caden Williams had for the Dawgs tonight. He was exceptional. His speed was on display every single inning, regardless of whether he was hitting or he was in the field, and he was all over the off speed tonight.
Yeah, I was really impressed with him. He waits, he anticipates what pitchers are going to throw, and I think he's a very good hitter. Skansky also as well. He had the 2-run home run, and there's a couple of hitters on Dawgs that are going to give every team a lot of problems, and Williams was one of them for sure. Eisenman had a good night as well. He had 3 hits.
And yeah, maybe a bit of a surprise coming into the season was a guy like Zane Skansky and then Caden Williams. Without guys like Ricky Sanchez and Logan Grant here yet, this Dawgs team is going to be a lot different in a month or 2 from now. This is not their complete package, and they were still right in it with the Mavs. One of the coolest moments tonight was what we saw in the top of the 9th inning. Gary Dornan, the 17-year-old high school student who's pitched really well for the Mavs this year, had his moment. What a cool thing to get to witness.
You're put into that situation with a lot of pressure on you, and I guess the only thing you can say is that you're going to either sink or swim, and boy, did he swim well tonight, and showed a lot of courage, got the next 2 hitters out, and kudos to him. And I like the way he attacked. He got the fastball in on, I forget who the second last hitter was, and he got a pop-up to Yusawa at shortstop, and I think this kid's going to have a great future ahead of him, so kudos to him, and kudos to JT for saying, you know what, you're our best option right now, so I don't care about your age, just go out there and throw me some strikes, don't fall behind, and that's what had happened to his pitching right before him, just walked 2 batters, and Spruill just got himself into trouble and got the Mavs in trouble, and Dornan came along and got us out of trouble.
Yep, 3 things captured in this game. Trust, grittiness, and an unwillingness to be defeated at home. Those are 3 things that this Mavericks team has been built on this year. They continue to build in the win column as we head further and further down the line in this season. What a night it was from Athletic Park once again. We will be back Tuesday night as the Brooks Bombers make their final visit to town, and we will have a special guest. Austin L., the Director of Operations, will join us in the broadcast booth for an inning, so stay tuned for that as well. From Athletic Park, for Wayne Slosher and myself, Truman Bartman, as always, this one has come to a close, and we cannot wait to see what the next one brings. Take care, folks.